know how to find us. Our emails will probably be the same 10 years from now. So if this kind of work comes up and there's a question and you want to just run it by somebody, contact us.
Yeah.
But also, what's fun to hear back from people is if you've had a little breakthrough, or
how you doing?
You've had a success, or you've had a problem and
got
you
stuck,
and then it's kind of you've resolved it. It's really interesting to hear how you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And to hear the story. Just you can always call up and say, hey, do you know anybody at Google? I want to get a job.
Right.
That's fine.
We're actually interested in you. As it turns out.
Yeah, but it actually turns out it would be interesting to find out how you're doing.
Yep.
As much as it is what we could do for you.
Yeah, and you'll probably hear from us because we'll keep asking for surveys and stuff. So, that's perfectly fair for you to ask for things back. On that, is there a way to stay connected to our resources online? Short answer is yes, particularly after we create them.
Yes.
You may have noticed we use CourseWorks throughout the course this time at the pilot. We really want to build a full-fledged, highly thorough, easy to use, dedicated to the class website, designingtheauthenticlife.org, which is very thin right now. Once that gets further up, we hope that's a resource for you forever.
Yeah, and it'll be open to anyone in the class.
Absolutely.
Probably open publicly as well.
Let's see. Other questions?
How does just go with the flow fit with a design approach?
Yeah, how does just a go-with-the-flow approach to life fit with a design approach?
And then also, can you suggest more blockbusting techniques and brainstorming techniques? On the brainstorming and blockbusting techniques, I think one of the books, if it's not on the reading list, is a book called Thinker Toys.
Right.
Thinker Toys by this guy, right here, Michael Michalko. And it's just stocked full of really interesting ideas. If you're ever in a company setting or you just want to do a brainstorm with a bunch of friends and you're looking for new ways to do it, there's probably 100, 150 ideas in this book.
Whack on the Side of the Head.
Whack on the Side of the Head
by Roger Von Eck.
O-E-C-H.
Von O-E-C-H. Got a PhD in creativity from Stanford, a self-defined major.
Yeah.
And he's a creativity guy. So that's Whack on the Side of the Head's a good book for that. On the just go with the flow, can you just go with the flow? Is that a design approach? Yes, it means you've decided that your design methodology is to go with the flow. So that's what you've designed. Is that intentional? Whether or not that's just a good cover story for frankly not doing the homework, or you really have chosen to do this kind of improv jazz approach to life is up to you. So it could be a cover story for frankly ducking it, or it could be kind of clever.
Yeah, let's not confuse going with the flow.
Being in flow, yes.
Which could be almost anything, right?
Right, whatever.
Simply being the whatever attitude. With being in a flow state, in a state where, remember we had that diagram where you say, my resources are being pressed right at their limits and the idea is, is just a little bit harder than I can work on, and I'm right in that zone where my capabilities and the problem are matched. That's a flow state, which actually is a state of high attention and high productivity, versus sort of zoned out, kind of going with the flow. So I think that
has nothing to do with strategic planning per se, just what's your experiential description at a given moment in time. The sweet spot I think we're advocating for in the course is, clearly we're trying to tell you, there's not just one right answer to your life. You're not an algorithm to be optimized, so you can release that, but by no means fall all the way over to whatever. It doesn't matter. You can do anything. As long as you're prototyping, you're cool. I don't think we're going there either. Your life really does matter. These choices really do matter, but they're not exclusive. So finding that point of a degree of intention that is creative, but also is learning and responsive to the unexpected, so you're adaptive, is a real art. And you're just going to have to practice that.
Yeah.
It really is artful. Okay. I think in terms of what Stanford resources are available to you after you graduate, I don't think we're great experts on that. Any one of the Stanford Resource Centers, the Alumni Association, the CDC itself, the Alumni Mentor List, those things are all things you can find online, and they all have their own rules.
Yeah, but certainly the Alumni Association has tons and tons of things,
stuff,
including you can put your resume up. They have a job finding process. They have job
career link thing,
career links and stuff. I highly recommend that stuff. That's all good. as soon as you give them your name, of course, they're going to hound you for money, and even
Which
right
is fine.
after you graduate. But that's staying in touch with the Stanford Network is a really valuable thing to do. So the alumni resources are there. Also, the CDC resources, as Lance mentioned, are available to you for up to 1 year after you graduate.
And still available to you for a fairly nominal fee forever. I mean, and they're much cheaper than retail.
Yeah.
So actually, the CDC is open to you forever.
Right.
I think that's it for. Oh no,
Well,
references. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you get a reference? How do you get a reference to grad school from your undergrad professors?
You ask them.
And you ask them now. You don't wait till 3 or 4 years when you're ready to go back to grad school, and then try to find a professor who remembers you from a class. You know that it might be harder for them to come up with
Right.
the things that you would like them to say about you. So it's a very good time right now as you're graduating to contact the professors that you felt you had a special relationship with. Certainly, people who would know your name, would know what you accomplished in their classes. Clearly, you want to ask for references from people in whose classes you did well. The other thing, having to write lots and lots of references for students to grad school, in my role, that's very helpful is to say, first one, would you do it? It's a favor. They are under no obligation to do it. If they agree to do it, make sure you've given them at least a month, if not 2 months, to get it into their schedule to do it. And then make sure almost every graduate school application has some kind of a personal statement or statement of why I want to go to grad school that you have to write. Give them at least the outline of that, and give them
Give them the draft of what you're working on.
Give them 3 or 4 bullets to jog their memory about what a great student you were in their class.
I actually ask people ask me for references. I go a little further, which not all professors necessarily would, and say, look, you're probably asking me because you're asking 3 or 4 people, and you're kind of hoping that Professor A talks about my study skills and Professor B talks about my collaboration because it was a great team program. If there's something in particular you thought that relationship had a chance to demonstrate, perhaps you would be able to speak to the way I led the team, or the quality of my writing. Again, say whatever's on your mind. You can't control them, but you don't want your references to all say the same thing. If you know you're a great presenter, and that's the easy thing to notice about you, and everybody says you're a great presenter, you really only have 1 reference, not 3. So go ahead and tell the referrer what you hope they might be able to speak to. I think that's fine.
Absolutely. In fact, every professor I know prefers that or encourages it because, look, you had one professor for that class. He had or she had 30 or 40 students. Even though you were one of the better students, and it's still top of mind, it's very, very helpful for them if you have to write 5 or 6 or 7 of these to have some prompts about what to say that would be useful. That would be useful to you. And also being on the admissions side and reading these letters, you can very quickly tell the pro forma letters from professors from the ones that really dug in deep and found a nugget about the student that was important and real. So make sure you pick professors who know you well, and give them an option not to do it if they don't feel they can write something significant about you.
Okay. And again, even if you think you're going to go to grad school and you're not sure, bank the reference letters now. Because a dated, accurate letter is more powerful than a current, fuzzy, ambiguous letter because the prof sort of forgot. So even if you're not going to use them, get them now.
Absolutely.
Last one would be a specific Stanford resource. How do I get involved with the D School if I'm a co-term graduate student? Because the D School courses, the interdisciplinary courses at the institute, not the program, are grad programs.
It's actually fair. I mean, since you're co-term, you're now considered a graduate student. Once you're in the co-term program, we consider you a grad student. And in fact, even late-stage seniors, winter and spring quarter seniors, can be admitted to D School classes. But it's primarily a graduate institute, and they'd love to have CS students in. Remember that almost all the classes are oversubscribed, and all the classes, therefore, have a small application you have to fill out. Trust me, the applications count. I've sat with the professors when they're admitting students. They've got 40 spots and they've got 80 people who've written essays. The little short essay that was dashed off 10 minutes before the application was due, it does not put you in a very good light when it's put up against somebody who's written 3 well-crafted paragraphs. It doesn't have to be 10 pages long, but